If outside sales, whether it's farmer's market produce or it's something else, if you feel the site can accommodate that and that that's a reasonable request in land use, it can be recommended by the commission to be part of the conditional use permit. If, on the other hand, farmer's market, sale of other products outside on that site don't seem to be a good fit, you can also take that position, but again, it's not a yes/no in conditional use. We don't feel as a commission that outside sales are reasonable because why? There isn't sufficient land area, there isn't sufficient accessibility, it's an incompatible land use for that neighborhood. It's the two issues have kind of gotten merged just because, but your real call here is not to decide where the current farmer's market should or shouldn't operate. That's not why we're asking the commission for input tonight. It's, are outside sales a reasonable land use at David Olson's property? That's the real question. So it becomes a part of the overall consideration, but again, you're not being asked as a commission to determine the future location for the downtown farmers market. That's not the question. But again, it's become a question for all of us because, for all the things that you've heard tonight. So I just want to clarify that point.
Well, the farmer's market fits into his plans out there, and
yes.
More power to it,
It's been a part of David Olson's plans probably for as long as I've been working on this project. It's become more specific and more detailed as the plans for that development have moved forward, and it's become maybe a more integral part of the overall plan. But I think it's been envisioned from the beginning, and now, like everything else, now is the time we need to deal with it or have to deal with it.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you for the question.
And just to be fair, through all that conversation here, you know, my girlfriend, she thinks she's so great at saving money, and she got it for this or that. She would probably get the dozen ears of corn for $3 at the grocery store, but I wish she'd go spend $4. That's all I gotta say.
She asked for if there's any further comments from the public.
Anything else? Anything else that anybody wants to say?
Come up and say it. We'd love to hear it.
All right. Hearing no further discussion, I'll close the public hearing. That brings us to the resolution 2017-7, conditional use permit. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit that would allow him to have a farmer's market at a what's being advertised, I guess, as an artisan shop. Artisan Plaza.
So again, to be clear, it's outside sales, it's the outdoor dining for the two locations that are proposed, it's the ability of Mr. Olson to have warehousing and wholesaling operate out of that building, and the signage, the signage, the wall signage and the monument signage out at 4th Street. In the event that this resolution is approved, David Olson still has additional work to do in terms of providing more detail on the site development plan itself under the ordinance, which is fine. All the details aren't known right now, don't have to be specified, they never are. But if this conditional use permit recommendation is approved and goes on to the City Council and they adopt it, he will have additional details to provide to us, including some additional details related to the operation of the farmer's market. So we've got some signage questions that, again, tenants who may choose to locate in that building, they're allowed signage, but they'd have to submit a sign permit to the city. There's only so much sign area that's allowed to this property. I've been in conversation with David Olson about that. I think he and I both feel that the ordinance allows sufficient sign area to accommodate what he wants to do. But he has to have the master plan. The individual tenants that come in need to submit an application for a sign permit. It's got to be underneath the overall umbrella of that sign program. So that's part of the conditional use permit as well. So if you're comfortable that the 3-acre site and the proposed land uses that are being requested here can be accommodated on that property. If that's your feeling, then you should make a recommendation to approve this resolution, knowing that Mr. Olson is going to have to come back with additional submittal of details to the city, be it for signage, be it for accessing, the specific details in the building, if there's going to be warehousing space, where exactly is it going to be, how is it going to be served, does it meet the ordinance requirements? Those are all details that will evolve with time, but they're going to have to be provided to us if this permit is approved as written.
Are your motions covering all 5 of the proposals?
Oh, well, I had made a motion to approve the conditional use permit. He just
That was-
clarified what
The
it was
resolution
being
approved,
done.
and that would cover those points.
So we really just need a second and a vote.
I'll second that.
I've got a second by Mr. Daniels. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to number 9, which is adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I've got a motion by Mr. Daniels
I'll second it.
and a second by Mr. Lundell. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That concludes the meeting. Thank you, folks.